Hey there, how you doing? Charlie Winters here with horse racing tips for Saturday, the 28th of September. Well, first, a quick recap on Friday's performance. Well, it was a winning day. It was £8 staked and £34 something returned. I understand everybody couldn't get the prices that I got. Maybe it got even bigger. I don't know. So what happened was on Friday. So the first race was a 143. I picked two selections. One was a non-runner, and the other one won at 11-1. Dandy's Angel. I think it returned 15-2 in the end. So then that got a nice little bet going on to the rest of them. So the next race we had, well, I selected two in the race. It was Minstrel Night and Filibustering. Well, Minstrel Night won very easily. We also had filibustering in second as well, which helped boost things up a bit. So therefore, actually a forecast as well. I don't know what it actually paid. They're both 9-2, the prices I took, but I think filibustering was about 11-4. So I don't know. They might have made about 30 quid, but obviously I didn't recommend the forecast. And then it all went on to Billy No Mates. Well, unfortunately, it came fourth, paying first three. I didn't actually realise it had won the race twice before, and that when they said that during the commentary, I was actually even more confident. It was travelling well. It just didn't really pick up, and then I think just towards the end it floundered in the ground and just lost third, came fourth in the end, but a very nice return. So let me get on to Saturday's horse racing and football tips. So the first bet is the main bet. And as always, the glasses are coming on because I've just found them. So I've actually staked the entire £34 of what I had returned for Friday. So Saturday selections are, so this is my most confident bet. Not confident that they'll all win, confident that I think they'll run the race and they tick an awful lot of boxes with me. Obviously, I hope they all win. I hope they all minimum place. But so what I've done is I've had pound each way singles. I've then had a 20 pence each way Yankee, and then 2, 4, 6, 8, 12. Then I had a 30 pence each way accumulator. You'll see it all anyway because I'm going to talk you through it. So the first selection is Earls at 11-2 in the 130 at Haydock, paying 4 places instead of 3. This horse is Gavin Cromwell. There's a decent prize up for grabs. Gavin Cromwell is very good at crossing the channel and scooping some decent prizes. Luke Morris is on board. This horse loves soft ground or even heavy ground, so therefore I think it's got every chance. It's a competitive race, but I do believe you will see the real mudlarks come to the fore at Haydock tomorrow. So I believe this has got a cracking chance. The second selection is Nebworth at 6-1 in the 240 at Haydock, paying 4 places instead of 3. I believe this horse has got a decent draw because at Haydock they tend to go on the far side, even in very, very soft ground. I have seen it once where they've come near side, and the following meeting I actually backed to the near side, and I never had a sniff. So I'm going to stick with the far side because Nebworth ran in a race that was on heavy ground either last year or the year before, and it finished behind a horse called Roach Power. Well, that was the year when I backed a selection on the near side, and it never had a chance. The finish well strung out that day, and Roach Power beat Nebworth relatively comfortably, I think, in the end. But Nebworth is in decent form. It should be on the far side, and I think it handles the ground, and it's got an awful lot of pace. It's one of them. You could call it a bit of a terrier. It'll either be forcing the pace, and then even if it gets headed, it will be one of those that normally battles back. So we'll see what happens, but two horses that I really like the look of. The third selection is Abba Rama Gold at 9-2 in the 315 at Haydock, paying 4 places instead of 3. In my opinion, this horse, it's receiving weight from quite a number of these, and probably 9-2 is maybe a bit stingy. Maybe I shouldn't have took the price, but I do always like to cash out, and I do think 9-2 and 6-1 above and 11-2 Earls are respectable prices for horses that I like the look of. Aberama Gold, in my opinion, has been mixing with better class horses than what are in this race, basically, on a consistent basis. I have seen that David O'Meara has got lots of horses out tomorrow, and there's an awful lot of them you can give chances to. I believe this is one of them, and once again, it's drawn on the low side on the straight course at Haydock, so I think it's got every chance. And the final selection in this bet is Eye of Dubai at 9-2 in the 320 at Ripon, paying 4 places instead of 3. So this could be a tale of draw biases. So at Ripon, it tends to be high numbers, and high numbers are where I'm not sure where the stand is, to be fair. I think it's classed as far side at the high numbers. Well, I believe there's more pace this time on low numbers, with low numbers. You've got, I think it's called Takarib Bay, its favourite. That should be up there. Eye of Dubai, I think, has been brought along quite gradually. It likes slow ground, and I think it's got every chance. I do believe PJ McDonald's on board. I think this horse is well handicapped, and I think it's been aimed at this race. There's been a few runs that it's had, and I think it's been on courses that it doesn't really want. I believe one of them was Chester, but I just think it's been aimed at this race, and there isn't much more to go at. So that's the strong bet. So let me talk you through the next bet. So what I've done is I do like the look of having more than one selection in a race. So what I've gone for each way doubles and each way treble again. So there's the 30p I was talking about. Let's get rid of them singles. So you can see I've placed these bets. I always do. So the next bet is a 25 pence each way doubles and a 15 pence each way trebles. And what I will say to you is that I am going to have a forecast and Tricast in the Newmarket Cambridgeshire, because I believe I've been looking at the draw bias. Well, the draw bias is pretty strong towards high numbers, and there are a lot of horses fancied in the market that are drawn high tomorrow. The only caveat I would put is I've been back to 2019, and all the way back to that date, there hasn't been a running on soft ground. The slowest it's been that I've seen is good ground. So maybe the draw bias may change on soft ground, but I'm going to go that it doesn't. So you'll see that I've had a bet in the Cambridgeshire very shortly, but I've also included another race where I've already had a bet, and I think it could. Basically, I've gone for draw advantages in this bet, and I think this could prove fruitful at Redcar when Redcar comes around. I think it's next Saturday, but let me get into it. So, as I said, 25 pence each way doubles, 15 pence each way trebles. So in the 240 at Haydock, paying 4 places instead of 3. As you can see, I've included Nebworth again, but I've also gone for Woven. Michael Dodd's team are gradually running to form. He's picked up the odd decent prize this year with some of his runners, and I think Woven is still to hit top gear. Woven loves soft ground. I think he's drawn 1 actually, and I think 14-1 is too big for a horse that didn't run fantastic last time, but I think it's gradually running into a little bit of form. So it would be, so if we get the winner out of that, so it'll be 150 each way, between 150 each way and £3 each way, going on to the next horse. And the next horse is where I've chosen one horse in that race, and it's in the 245 at Ripon, paying 4 places instead of 3. This is a tasty prize up for grabs. Don't forget, Tim Easterby is the champion trainer, and he has been for quite a while at Ripon. This horse, Matisse, it's a bit in and out, or maybe they just run it in and out, and it just had a run round last time because it disappointed. I can't remember the track that it disappointed at, but I think this horse can very easily pop back. Now there's some tasty prize money because it's the Easterbys, and they like tasty prize money. So Matisse at 7 to 1 in the 245 at Ripon, paying 4 places instead of 3. And if any of them two in the first bet that you can see, and Matisse wins, we're then in for a leg shaker. So if there's anything to come, it will all roll onto these 3 selections in the Newmarket Cambridgeshire. And I shall tell you why I've gone for them. So I've gone for 3 horses in the 340 at Newmarket, and it's paying 8 places instead of 4. First of all, I've gone for high numbers. Beau Pedro, I think there's 37 runners, or there was. Beau Pedro is drawn 22, which is not bad. I just can't not back that horse. I think it's got a chance. It ran well in the race. I think it was last year. Did it come? I think it come 4th. I'm not sure, but it came in that if last year's race was this year's and Sky Bet were covering it, they would have paid out on it. So it definitely came in the first 8. Majestic, I believe, has won the race before. I might be wrong if it hasn't. I can't remember, to be fair. I shouldn't really mention that, actually, because it looks a bit... Majestic actually ran in the race last year. It hasn't got form on soft ground. Fingers crossed that it can run on soft ground. I think the slowest I've really seen it perform on is good to soft. Well, Majestic was travelling very well last year, or travelling majestically last year, as well as Beau Pedro and as well as Astro King. But Majestic, it was just squeezed a slight bit. Not hampered, it was just intimidated, you could say. And I think this horse could run a very good race. And in the Racing Post, it was 25s or 33s. With Sky Bet, it's currently 18s, and that's why I've left the price. So the other horse is Mr. King in the 340 at Newmarket, paying 8 places instead of 4. Well, this is my strongest fancy in this race, and it's a tentative choice at that, because I do think it's a well handicapped horse. I do like the fact that Ian Jardine actually took 2 to Newmarket for this race. I think this has got the best chance. I think it's drawn 33. Mr. King, I did look at the owner. Now, I always like to see if owners or trainers, obviously, like targeting certain courses. I don't think this owner has targeted Newmarket, but he's actually got a 33% strike rate. He's had 3 runners there, and one of them has won. Well, it's going to be a tall order for this one to win, because it's a tasty price. I think it's about 25 to 1, but I do like the look of it. It's come from Ireland. It's got form on soft ground. I believe that it ran well. It's ran 3 times for Ian Jardine. I can't exactly remember what course it was, but it ran well on its debut, and I do believe it ran over a mile and 2 and disappointed, which I'm not too worried about that. And then I think it ran at Chester. Horses that run at Chester and run okay, or I always put a line through any Chester form half the time, because I think sometimes horses just have runs around there just to keep them ticking over, and knowing that they'll hate the course, but it's a competitive run where they know if they run towards the bike, they're pretty much not going to get involved. But they might even drop a couple of pound, and also they've got a competitive run under the belt. But I do like the look of Mr. King. Majestic, yeah, obvious chance. Beau Pedro, obvious chance, but stingy at 12 to 1. So, as I mentioned, or I think I mentioned, or I am mentioning now, I am going to have a reverse forecast and reverse Tricast, just to small amounts, in the Newmarket Cambridgeshire. But let me please state, I will be adding a 4th horse to the reverse forecast and Tricast. So I'll be adding, obviously, Mr. King, Majestic, Beau Pedro, but also a horse called Under Siege. And I do like the look of that one. I think I've got confused with Mr. King and Under Siege, but Mr. King is my most fancied horse. But Under Siege actually ran at Chester last time. It's got a tendency to hang. Well, I think this straight course will be ideal for Under Siege, and it's got a cracking draw. I think it's drawn 36. and I think it will run well. It's Callum Hutchinson on board, which I'm not really a fan of, but I think it's a decent jockey, but he never seems to ride a good race for me. Trained by Andrew Balding. So those are the four that I'm putting in a reverse forecast and a reverse Tricast. I'm probably talking spending more than something like £3 something on the forecast, and probably about £1.20, couple of quid on the reverse Tricast. So let me get on to the football bet, what you've all been waiting for. And it's just like Take Me Out. Everybody's disappearing now because some of you don't like the football bet. Well, so I'm going to tell you anyway. So if you hang on, and so the football bet is I put £7.68. The 68 pence was what were left in the account. So it's a £7.68 over 2.5 goals treble. Now I'm tempted to stick with these teams because I believe these teams there'll be plenty of goals in their matches. And the team is Birmingham, so it's over 2.5 goals in the Birmingham versus Peterborough match. The next match is Leyton Orient versus Wrexham. I was even tempted to have both teams to score and a team to win, as in Birmingham to win and Wrexham, but I'm not going to now. I've staked enough. And the final match is Chelsea versus Brighton. I believe there were plenty of goals in these matches, and just to prove the other bet that I've had a £3. If you just hang to the end, I'm sure there's a page 2 of Miss Sky bet. So it's a £3 over 3.5 goals bet. Same matches: Chelsea and Brighton, Birmingham and Peterborough, and Leyton Orient and Wrexham, and that makes £41. So there's another single that I've had. That's matched up with the first bet that I mentioned. So see what this is. So this is, what is that? Oh, it's just £1 each way on Mr. King. So what that is, in fact, I should just hang on 1 second. That's just throwing everybody out. That quick spin of the. Yeah. So what I've done is I've actually had £1 each way on Mr. King. I didn't realise I had that. What a cracking end to the video. So if you can do me a massive favour, there's nobody here right now. So if you can give me a like or a subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. So I wish you the very best of luck. Charlie Winters, over and out. Cheers, mate.